how's it going? So this topic of today's vlog is going to be a little bit more addressing some of the questions that people have had about us and our growing up in regards to being gay and Mormon.
Being raised gay and Mormon.
I don't feel like I was necessarily raised gay. I just feel like I...
Raised Mormon and being gay.
Yeah.
There.
Nailed it. Before we actually start on this subject...
I'm so nervous. I just
nervous.
kiss you when I'm nervous.
I know. Before we start on this subject, we'd like to do a little disclaimer. First of all, this video is not to have a purpose of driving people away from their faith or any religion or anything like that. We respect everybody's walks of faith, and we think that everyone who has a journey is respected and honored in that regard. So...
Well, and can I add one thing?
Of course, yeah.
And then what we're doing is sharing our experiences, feelings, things that we've gone through. So none of it is, it's subjective. Is that the word?
Yeah, it's really just...
It's our experiences,
personal
and our
experiences.
Take on it. So I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't... You can agree or disagree, but whether you agree or disagree, it's just our feelings.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So...
Our personal experiences. So,
because we literally, like you said, we get questions about being Mormon, about like being raised religious and coming out and things like that.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to put our take on the whole Mormon aspects of our lives and answer some of the questions around that.
Totally. We want to approach this in a way of why are people so affected by the /LDS church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Why? We have been kind of delaying doing a video on this because for us, the church really is not a matter for us. It's not really a big thing. However, having said that, we have experienced personal things in our own lives and also together as a couple. It's more so just bothersome. We've experienced bothersome things in our journey having been in Utah, having been raised Mormon, and now where we're at in our lives where we are completely free. That's not the right word.
We broke free, baby.
It's so funny. You go through this journey, you finally realize who you are in life and what you need in order to be the best person that you are and have become. And yet you still find little things that are just like sticking it to you.
Little jabs. Like you're living your life, doing your thing, and then there's just like, just leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, and let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of background. So we both served missions. I served in London. He served in Philadelphia?
No.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So we did that. He was actually married. He did like a temple marriage. And then we both left the church and we're no longer a part of it whatsoever. And we have no desire to be.
No.
It's like being like part of being black and then being a member of the KKK.
Those are very, I think, stronger examples. I think for me, I found more peace and personal progression in my life the moment I decided to distance myself from the LDS church. It just worked out that way for me. It doesn't mean that that's the same for everyone across the board, because I think that some people actually become better people when they are affiliated with the church or any religion or whatever. But for me, I was more loving, more at peace, more calm than I had ever experienced in my entire life when I distanced myself from the LDS church. So to me, that felt like a better fit for me to become more loving, even towards my Mormon or LDS friends and family. So I hope that kind of explains my feelings towards the church. Recently, we were asked the question, why are you so affected by the LDS church? Why can't you just live your own life and let us live our lives? Well, here's the thing. We are living our own lives. But what is really going on, and how are we, and why would we, or any other person for that matter, in the LGBTQ community feel like they are being personally victimized or attacked by the LDS church?
So let's take it from there. So a little personal story. So they have this little church conference every 6 months, I think, right? Anyways, they always say something about like gender and gay and how marriage is ordained from God of man and woman, and gender's ordained in the life before this and all that kind of stuff. So I think like the LGBTQ Q plus community gets a little riled up during this time because we get a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of things in our families. A lot of our families believe these things. So I was upset with these comments. So I was like texting my family. We have a group chat with my sisters and my mom. And I was just texting them articles and some things. And I'm like, so do you guys think that like I'm going to hell? Do you think I'm not worthy of love? Do you think all these things that your priesthood leader said? Because if you guys love me and you believe in this church, it's like it doesn't make sense. So it like hits to home when something that they live their whole lives by is telling you that someone that's gay or lesbian or whatever you may be, you identify as, is not worthy of true love, and that you'll never feel a real fulfillment. I need to get the words. We'll have to get the quotes, because if I like misquote it, some Mormon out there will freak out. So I'll get that. We'll put it up here. But they said something along those lines, and then we were having this little like heated argument, and you felt the tension between me and my family.
I did feel the tension, and really the biggest part that affected the whole thing was, Chad, if you don't believe in this, why does this affect you? And I completely agree. Why does it affect you as a person, or how does this affect your life and what you're doing and accomplishing in your own personal journey?
When I go to family functions and things, in the back of my head, I'm like, you guys love me, but like, you think I'm like living this life that's not worthy or something.
It affects our own personal journey. For instance, when Chad and I first started doing YouTube, we started monetizing our videos just because we were like, hey, why don't we get some money from, putting our lives out there, right? But we noticed that one of the people who wanted to sponsor us was the LDS Church. They were putting their ads on top of our gay Utah videos that we had on there. And as soon as we caught wind of that, we obviously put an end to that. But it was somewhat disturbing to find that they wanted to place their message in front of our own.
And the message was about a man and a woman being married.
Yes. That was the talk that was given as an advertisement, which was paid for by sacred funds in front of our video, which...
And maybe it just magically appeared on there.
Maybe it's a coincidence.
Let's put that out.
We'll just say it's a coincidence.
Too.
When we are being told that we're fighting against the Lord's will when we don't believe that's the case, it's kind of like saying, stop doing something that you don't even believe in. But we're like, what are we doing? We're just living our own lives. So why are we being so affected by it? Because they believe that we're fighting against the true values of what marriage is. If that's your belief, great. But that's not ours. So why are we supposed to respect yours and you're not allowed to respect ours? Regardless of respect, we're all human beings. We all share this earth and we all breathe the same oxygen which is on our planet. So we all have to get along with each other somewhat, or we don't even have to communicate with each other. But we don't need to be affected by your belief system and what you believe is right for us. What's right for you is what's right for you. What's right for us is what's right for us. We all have our individual truths. We all know what's right for ourselves. And it doesn't need to go any further than that, other than a mutual respect that's there.
It just we want this to be a video about understanding and why people do get feelings hurt. And I think that was great, what you said. But another thing while he was talking, I thought about just a quick thing is, so members of the Mormon church, they pay 10% of their earnings to the church.
A tithe.
Tithing. Most people know what that is, I guess.
That's a tithe.
Yeah, so they pay, to the church, and then the church uses these funds. They've spent millions of dollars in like Prop 8 in California, and they spent millions of dollars taking away our rights. So when my family's paying money to this, and it's going towards taking away my rights to love who I want to my family, to Jared and the kids, that's when it really like I'm getting the goosebumps right now. It just really like hurts, because I'm like, wait, you love me and you say you support me, but you're paying to take away my rights. So if I actively was paying to take away your rights to love your husband or wife or anything, like I feel like that would offend someone.
Right.
You don't even have to believe in gay marriage, but do you see where I'm coming from? That's like all I want people to like Do you understand?
You need to, but we also need to throw in a disclaimer, because you're probably going to get a lot of comments about that statement right there, because the LDS Church said that they released how much money that they supported against Prop 8 in California, and they said it was like something like a couple $100 or $900, something around there. I don't remember the exact figure, but what it was
still, even if it's $1.
But here's the thing.
Baby knows all his numbers, and I just throw things out.
What was actually done was all the leaders in the church to command some of the more wealthier members of the church to pay more money towards the fight on Prop 8. I know personally that someone in my extended family was issued such a letter saying, we know how much money you make and we know how much you can contribute to this cause. We would like you to contribute more money to fight against Proposition 8, the fight against gay marriage in the state of California. That right there is a complete and direct commandment from people who look to these men as leaders, as inspired by God. Now, we're not going to get into the whole spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
The other part that is somewhat bothersome for me is to see children being so affected by this, because I myself was one. I always fought against myself. In fact, I did it clear up into adulthood, where I was somehow expected to marry a woman. I did that. I fought. If anybody can say anything about what it's like to get married or to choose your sexuality, I can speak to that, because that's been my experience. Walk in my shoes and then you'll see exactly what I experienced. When kids grow up in a church that says this isn't right, your feelings aren't natural, those feelings are a disorder of some sort. When you feel those things and you feel like you were born, like my attractions to the same gender are not natural, there's something wrong with me. I don't feel right. I have to grow up feeling that all throughout my entire life, which leads to feelings of worthlessness, insecurity, not feeling like you fit in. And then it also adds to what is acted out when you're going through your entire life, when you're there and you're feeling like, I don't fit in with all the other boys because all these boys are attracted to girls and I'm just so different and I don't feel good about myself. Utah is experiencing a huge epidemic in youth suicide. A lot of that is being contributed to the fact of these kids that are LGBTQ. These are kids who feel inferior. We could contribute that to Utah's elevation. We could say whatever it is, but there's a lot of suicide that is currently happening in the state of Utah. And there's also a lot of people who are dealing with depression and self-worthiness and value, because a lot of times people are taught so many of these morals and values, but they're also telling you that anything that is opposite is not right. So people have to deal with themselves in such a way that is just not, it's hard to live with yourself. That's why me as a person, I am so passionate about loving yourself and being true to yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to live with who you are as a person, as a contributor to this planet. It's not just a saying, hey, I need to become someone else. Yeah, maybe your religion teaches you that you need to become someone else. You just need to hone in more so on what makes you you, what makes you beautiful, what makes you the person that you are now.
The reason we're so passionate about it is because we, like, literally on a daily basis, we get either an email, a message, or something with either like younger teenagers or adults or whoever it is that like message us, and they're like, hey, I don't know what to do. I feel locked. Some of them I'm married. Some of them I'm like, they have no one to talk to. They're from all over the world. I'm Mormon. I don't know what to do. And then the first thing we say is like, you're perfect the way you are. We try not to give advice. And then just like some of them are like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for that. And literally all people need is love. And when don't let people express themselves, it's such a damaging thing. Yeah. And I don't care what religion or what you believe, but just love. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to love people. Let them express what they feel. we get so riled up, and so like we do have a lot of emotions, and some of it's anger, some of it's just misunderstanding, and that. So it's probably will come across some of those different feelings, but really it's because it's like, ooh,
well, this topic in general really
it gets us so riled up.
Is about all the bad things that you never want to talk about: sex, politics, religion. The reason why it's such a fight and so many people are constantly offended and affected by it is because we're dealing with people's personal morale. We're not saying, like, I don't feel like I'm any less of a human being because I am gay. I feel like I am actually being more contributing as a person on this earth, contributing to the greater good. The greater good being love. I pay my taxes. I contribute to the happiness and peace of my fellow man out there. Like, just because I love Chad and I'm with him does not mean that I am actually fighting against your beliefs.
It's so interesting because sometimes when we talk with religious people, they kind of act like, oh, well, sweetheart, you're in the darkness and you're sinning, so you can't see it. Mm-hmm. So like, you're so angry, so you're just angry because you're living in sin. And that frustrates me the most out of anything, because it's just saying like, oh, we're not listening to anything you say because you're in sin. But that's really cute. Thanks for sharing that. But we're right, you're wrong.
See, because for me, like, I actually
it's so draining though. I'm like,
I don't get affected by people thinking that I'm a disgruntled ex-Mormon. What I feel in my life is peace, love, happiness, joy. For the first time. It's not clouded by someone else's perception of who I need to become. I feel like I'm becoming a much better person because I have been honest and loving with myself. And that means coming out of the closet. That means loving who I fall in love with. It means loving my children. It means giving them a bright and beautiful future. It doesn't mean that I'm disgruntled, because I'm not. I know what I believe in, and I'm not intimidated by other people's beliefs. I know what I believe, and that just so happens to not be it. If you're passionate about it, wonderful. Be passionate in a cause. Be passionate in something that makes you happy and more at peace. Because in the long run, that peace is going to contribute to the greater good. Keep your peace to yourself, what makes you a better person, and live by that. It doesn't need to affect someone else's self-worth and value. I think that's really what it boils down to. We're all loved. We're all valuable.
Amen.
We're all brothers and sisters. We're all sons and daughters of God. And whether or not you believe in God is up to you. But I personally believe that we all have such a great value and such a great potential to contribute to the positivity and love in this world. And we can all make a difference by being a little more respectful, a little bit more kind, and a whole lot more loving. We're just spilling all of our guts here for the world to kind of take, but
yeah, I think that's I think we're going to end on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the main message is just like, whoever's watching this, you're perfect the way you are. Like, just love everyone. Just be nice to people, love people, be kind, try to understand people even when we don't agree, and we need to work on that too. So
if you don't understand, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But just be respectful and know that everyone has a personal journey. And if you really believe that everyone's personal journey is to be a part of your church, then keep that to yourself and let people continue their journey. Because people will, if that is the case, find that. But everyone deserves love and respect.
Amen. All right, guys. Well, thanks. Amen. No, but thanks for watching. We hope that can help people or just kind of create some understanding. But if you guys do have any other topics that you guys want to hear about, drop them in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video and share it. If you think it could help someone, just share it with someone. So thanks, and we'll see you guys next week.